Picture perfect. Picture perfect day. Smarts. Certified. Imagine the chaos. Imagine only eight make the playoffs. Winning their way in is not an option. Pressure. You're gonna never all night long. Pressure. They need pressure. They need to win. This is Michigan. The Gander Outdoors Truck Series racing at Michigan for the 20th time. Michigan International Speedway, the site for the regular season finale. 100 laps, 200 miles. Two of the four fastest races in Truck Series history have been run here, Mike.
Yeah, let's see why this track is so fast. It's 2 miles in length, and you can see that banks are up there at 18 degrees, straightaways 3,600 feet long and 2,240 on the back. This is just a place where you can find out how much nerve you've got, how hard you can drive your truck all day long. And look, up top, there's traction compound that's been laid down. That means these drivers will be forced to run top, low, middle, all over this racetrack. Great track.
Let's take a look at our race analysis. You see this race, as you mentioned, is short, only 100 laps, 200 miles. Short stage is 20, and our final stage 60. You see our pit window somewhere between 38 and 40 laps. That means we will have a pit stop in that final stage.
At qualifying earlier today, and Ross Chastain, who has been very sporty this weekend, looked great in practice yesterday, won the pole today, his third career pole, the first pole ever for Nice Motorsports.
He's been sporty all year, Vince.
He has indeed. Tyler Ankrum, recent winner. Todd Gilliland must win today.
As is the case with Harrison Burton, Austin Hill got that must win out of the way of the first race of the season.
It was 6 months ago.
Brett Moffitt's won here a couple of times. Grant Enfinger is going to clinch the regular season title today.
You see Matt Crafton, he will have to go to the rear. He had to change engines after qualifying.
Talked about Johnny Slaughter needing some momentum. Got to get this ship righted as we go toward the playoffs.
Good efforts by Corey Roper and Natalie Decker back in row number 8.
Tyler Dipple, remember, he and Creed both, if either one of them would happen to win today, they would clinch that final playoff spot. If none of those drivers would happen to get in, it would be Crafton taking the final 8th and final playoff position.
And what about Crafton? With all the pressure, he's got to drop to the rear of this field and try to race up through the traffic. He's one guy for certain that is happy to see that traction compound up on the top side of this facility.
16 rows of 32 trucks, and the aforementioned Matt Crafton will be carrying one of the onboards.
Yeah, we will ride along with Matt Crafton. That's Menard's 40, scheduled to start in the 12th spot, and that was after the shutting the engine off well before he got to the start-finish line. Let's see if we can talk to Matt Crafton and ask him what he thinks about starting at the back. Hey, Matt Crafton, Phil Parsons and the boys up in the Fox booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. That's clear.
Matt, it looked like you had a great run going in qualifying until the clutch went out on that thing, and you still end up qualifying 12th. What do you got for the race here? Got to start at the back here. What are you and Junior thinking?
Go to the front, charge hard early, get stage points to win the race. We brought all our friends with us.
How about the traction compound up there? Have you been up there yet, or are you going to have to use that stuff to make your way by some of these guys?
I think we're going to have to go there early right now and get by some of these guys, but I think this Menards Ford F-150 is pretty sporty. We changed a lot last night and had very good speed coming to the checkered when it broke.
All right, buddy. Have a great race. Thank you.
Thank you.
Matt sounded pretty focused, didn't it?
Yeah, he did.
Let's go up to the front, toward the front of this field with Harrison Burton. He's going to start 5th in Kyle Busch Motorsports Fields Toyota, and he's got that visor cam on. That's going to give us some great views as we run through this race. Hermie Sadler, are you with this crew chief down there?
I got his crew chief. That's Mike Hillman Jr. Your driver's 18 years old. He's never been to this racetrack. He's got to win today to qualify for the playoffs, but he seems like and comes across like the pressure is not getting to him. What gives him that confidence?
I think the strength of this race team, everybody at KBM, everybody that works on this field's Toyota Tundra, it's just another day at the office. We just got to execute all day long and put in position at the end of the race, and hopefully we can get a win, transfer into the playoffs.
Alan?
We just heard from Matt Crafton. I'm here with his crew chief, Junior Joyner. You've got a lot to gain, but also a lot to lose, and your driver just promised to be real aggressive. What does his crew chief think?
I like the sound of that. I've been preaching that to him all day. We don't have a lot to lose. We got everything to gain if we go out there and win the race. So our Menards F-150's been really good, a little bit free yesterday, made some good adjustments overnight, and hats off to these guys, man. They busted their butt. They're kind of getting used to this engine changing thing. I don't know if I like that or not. So we'll make the best of it today, and hopefully we're in victory lane. This is kind of our backyard, so I think we deserve it.
Watch that 88 coming from the back of the field.
Well, as we look at those playoff standings, you'll see that Matt Crafton currently sits in that 8th and final spot. The only way Crafton doesn't make the playoffs is if one of those drivers below the red line wins today.
It's simple, and then what Junior Joyner told me this morning is we want to win and just take that out of the equation.
Yeah, and you could hear that in Crafton's voice when you interviewed him, Phil. He's focused and dead set on heading toward the front.
All 4 of those drivers below the cut line have had speed throughout the course of the season. Can they make it count today? The regular season finale with Ross Chastain and Christian Eckes on the front row. We're green at Michigan.
That's going to be a penalty. I think he...
Yeah, that was a little bit...
That's Ankrum, yeah. That's Ankrum of the 17. He pulled down unless... Now, obviously, he's given that spot back, but I think the damage was done. You cannot pull out a line until you get past the start-finish line. He obviously did that.
Look at Ben Rhodes on the high side in that beautiful Haviland number 98 truck. He's able, he's able to get some positions there early on the high side. That's a great sign about the kind of racing we're going to see here today.
There's Moffitt, winner last year here in that 24 truck. Ross Chastain out front, a 3-time winner this season.
How about Crafton? We caught a glimpse of Crafton up there in the traction compound making some passes.
Remember, we see a lot of...
Look, now he's next to the grass.
Yeah, 5 wide at one point there.
And as you guys indicated at the top of the show, is when that green flag waved and Tyler Ankrum jumped out of line before he got to the start-finish line, that is illegal, and he has been posted by NASCAR. He'll have to come to pit road.
That is not a death sentence. Anytime you make a mistake early in the race, there's plenty of time to overcome it. But you can see, before the start-finish line, clearly out of line. It doesn't matter what he does after that. He made a violation, a start violation, and he was black flag for it, and he's coming to pit road along with the 22 truck of Austin Self.
See Stuart Friesen, that blue number 52 truck, making a move around his teammate Sheldon Creed.
Look at the 3 wide racing throughout the pack, and that's what this truck package and what the racetrack in Michigan allows.
I was talking to a lot of the crew chiefs as we ride along here with Matt Crafton and this Menards onboard, as they said, well, this is a different tire here. A lot of these trucks are really loose. We're not sure we're going to see any great racing like we have in the past. Well, I think we've already disproved that. It is going to be great racing.
The trucks punch that big hole in the air, and then when you have a track like Michigan, it's almost like a super speedway in regards to some of the racing we see at Daytona or Talladega.
Yeah, and these drivers are going to be challenged when they're 2-3 wide in the corners about keeping their trucks underneath them. It gets really loose down in the corner when you're in a situation, say like the 51 of Eckes is right here. His truck really wants to come around on him down there. He has to watch himself.
Battle for second. Todd Gilliland has it. Christian Eckes, his KBM teammate, fading now after challenging Gilliland, and it's Ben Rhodes in 3rd, Austin Hill 4th, and Eckes will slot in the 5th position.
I think the early reports on the Ford truck are pretty good. They changed a lot of stuff overnight. Had a great qualifying effort, qualified 4th, and running right now in the 2nd spot, side by side for 3rd.
I like this 99 truck of Rhodes. We saw a lot of speed from him in practice yesterday, and he's strong early.
You see Austin Hill in the 16. Keep in mind that Austin Hill in that 16 truck. That 16 truck is the one that won here last year with Brett Moffitt driving it. So same team as the winning team a year ago here at Michigan.
And Michael talked about needing momentum going into the playoffs. That team needs some momentum. 3 finishes outside the top 30 the last 3 times he's been out.
That's hard to believe, isn't it?
It really is.
A statement like that, Daytona winner, a truck that's been so strong all year long, riding along with Harrison Burton and his Fields Toyota. Look at that speed, 186.87. Can we break 190? Heck yeah.
Wow, 193 getting down into turn number 1.
And barely, you hear him working the throttle there, wide open now. Didn't even get under 170 through the corner.
Ross Chastain continues to lead with Todd Gilliland running second, Ben Rhodes third. Both the drivers of that 4 and 99 trucks, they must win today to get into the playoffs.
I cannot imagine sitting in February at Daytona and us having a conversation and saying, what are the odds that the 2 KBM trucks of Todd Gilliland and Harrison Burton and Ben Rhodes will not make the playoffs?
I mean, I think both of those drivers would have been considered serious championship contenders, maybe Final Four contenders if you would have predicted at the beginning of the season.
And then the guy leading the race, we wouldn't have predicted this for him, right?
He was an Xfinity driver.
He wasn't even a truck driver, but he's put it all together and now is maybe the favorite to take the championship in 2019.
Well, we talked about the 17 of Tyler Ankrum being posted by NASCAR. Alan?
Yeah, the young driver came down pit road trying to dispute, saying he didn't do it. He didn't commit the penalty. His team said, just calm down, come down pit road. We will explain this. What he's really losing out on is experience in the draft and the line of trucks right now on the racetrack. That's what he wanted to learn and get experience with. He's missing out on that right now. Herman?
Grant Enfinger in the 98 is the regular season points champion here in the Truck Series. 15 bonus points. But these guys pleasantly surprised to be running as good as they are to start this race. In practice yesterday, they were really not even close to where they needed to be. Jeff Hensley, the crew chief, told me they generally come to the racetrack very conservative with the body platform of this truck. But when they unloaded, they were on the racetrack, hit on the splitter so much they had to actually change the left side of the splitter after practice. They do slowly adjusting this truck, and right now he's running inside the top 5. A pleasant surprise for he and the race team.
Well, it's a little unusual to see that 98 of Enfinger in that white paint scheme because we're so used to seeing him in the black and yellow as we see another good battle for second. Rhodes pulling up alongside of Gilliland.
And also, Vince, just ahead of them is Chastain. So even though it looked like Rhodes is faster than Gilliland, Chastain hasn't gone anywhere. I think that's a great sign for the speed in this 99.
For those of you that are watching this Gander Outdoors Truck Series race on FS2, it's also airing on FS1, so you can make that switch now as we're about halfway through stage 1 at Michigan with a handful of drivers facing a must-win situation for the playoffs ahead. Ross Chastain has led them all so far here this afternoon at Michigan. The NASCAR Gander Outdoors Truck Series regular season finale.
Vince, I'm hearing enough playing with the throttle from our onboards that tells me these guys will start searching up into that traction compound. I think they're out of the gas quite a lot. You can see Ben Rhodes is running down Ross Chastain. Ross is an experienced racer. It won't take him long to creep up there, maybe put those right sides in that compound.
Yeah, I was watching a little bit more of the field, and I saw Brett Moffitt going with all 4 tires up in the traction compound, trying to make his way up from the 8th position.
It was a little something different because we didn't see him up there in practice.
No, but they're slipping and sliding. You can see right there, Ross Chastain off turn 2. That truck was a handful, and that allows Ben Rhodes to close in even tighter.
What a season it's been for Ross Chastain. 3 wins. Actually been to victory lane 4 times, but one of those wins was taken away for a disqualification. But he wasn't even running for Truck Series points at the beginning of the season, but made the switch in June and had to start over 0 points. But he got himself into the top 20 and, of course, has won a couple of times since.
And as Michael mentioned, we've got to consider him possibly the favorite for this championship here in 2019. I'll tell you, that 99 truck is coming. 3 of the last 4 laps, he has been a little bit faster than Ross Chastain. He's getting the use of that draft off that 45 truck of Chastain.
This is another kid doing a nice job in that 51 truck, Chris Chinek, as he drove around Todd Gilliland just a couple laps ago. And there's Moffitt. He's one of the first guys up top. He's driving around the outside of Harrison Burton.
He didn't even have to use it that time. Harrison went low, and Moffitt just went by on the outside.
Look at this mess.
Great view from out front of Harrison Burton's truck, and look at Moffitt navigating the traffic up ahead of him. Burton does the same.
And look where Moffitt goes, up there where no one else is. That's the best way to get through traffic, right? Like baseball.
It looks like he's going to pull to the outside, possibly of the 16 of Austin Hill, trying to grab another spot.
You know, in baseball, they tell you to hit them where they're not. Well, Brett's driving where they're not. He's going up there where few guys have traveled.
And is that an indication, Mike, that his truck is a little bit better than others?
Yeah, and it's also experience. Brett's been around a long time. He's won here twice, like you mentioned earlier. Vince, he knows there's options up there. We were watching the Cup Series practice earlier today, the Monster Energy guys, and Kyle Busch was already up in that compound trying his car out, so they know there's options up top.
Remember that first win that Brett Moffitt had here at Michigan, as he does grab that spot from the 98 of Ben Finger. He went where there was no traction compound, made it 3 wide for the pass for the win.
He's putting on a clinic to these guys right now. Over the last 4 or 5 laps, he's run his fastest lap of the race, which I think is interesting, too. I noticed that Ben Rhodes did that as well. What are we going to do for strategy, Phil? We have a caution here in a bit for the end of stage 1. What are these crew chiefs thinking when they see those fast speeds on those tires that have gotten hot?
2 laps remaining in stage 1. Remember, the pits close in the final 2 laps of each stage. Ross Chastain continues to lead.
Michael, I like putting 4 on now. That opens up the options later. I'd like to have 4 till for my last pit stop, not having to put 4 on, having a little fresher tires maybe.
Moffitt now challenging Todd Gilliland for 4th, and Moffitt just seems to have a truck that he can put anywhere. He has run high, low, down the middle, has the speed, and is cutting through the field.
Got a lot of the talk in the garage area that the 24 truck was one of the best trucks in race-type conditions as of yesterday. The 51 truck right ahead of him was another truck that was in a lot of conversations, as well as this guy driving the 45.
The final lap here in stage 1. Ben Rhodes has gotten to within 4/10 of Ross Chastain, and then it's leveled off. It looked for a while like maybe he was going to close the gap and maybe even threaten to pass Chastain, but that has not been the case as you look at Austin Hill work on Grant Enfinger for 6th.
Grant crowding him down, trying to take some of that momentum away. Hill's having to back out of the gas. Can he get back to it?
Ross Chastain, his 3rd stage win of the season, and he does it here at Michigan. Chastain with a great opening stage. Many consider him to be the championship favorite. Wasn't even running for the championship when the season started. It's rolling out for Ross Chastain. It's that time of year. Football is back on Fox. Preseason clash coming up between Russell Wilson and the Seahawks and Kirk Cousins and the Vikings. All kicks off August 18th, 8 o'clock Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app.
Looking forward to a little NFL on Fox this fall. A lot of fun watching that.
Playoff standings, not much changed. And remember, of course, those guys in yellow, they just have to win to get in. That's how they get in the playoffs today. They're not going to point their way in.
You know, but if I'm Ben Rhodes, I'm excited. I got a truck fast enough to win this race with. If you're Harrison Burton, Todd Gilliland, Creed, looks like they got some work to do. Get to pit road and make some adjustments.
Yeah, get those crew chiefs an opportunity to work on these trucks.
In stage 1, Grant Enfinger in that 98 truck clinched the regular season title. Scoring the most points during the regular season earns him 15 playoff points. Man, that is a big bonus. That's like winning 3 races.
Exactly right, and a big difference between first and second, too. 15 for first, 10 for second, so that's definitely a win worth of separation.
What are we going to do? Got to make some decisions here.
I like 4 right now, at least 4 on the next pit stop. Maybe 2 now, but I definitely want 4 on the next pit stop.
I'm going to go with 2.
Decisions. Ross Chastain will lead him down. Hermie Sadler will be waiting on the 24 of Brett Moffitt.
Vince, they set this truck up for maximum downforce. So towards the end of that first run, about the fastest truck on the racetrack. The only issue, a little bit loose at the bottom of the racetrack in traffic. It's fuel in track bar only for the 24, Alan.
The 99 in the middle of your screen of Ben Rhodes. The call, 4.5 seconds of fuel only for Ben Rhodes as he's on and off pit road. Already on the bottom of your screen, the leader, Ross Chastain, says he has to lift just a little bit because he's too loose. Wants an adjustment. Chaos at pit road.
Oh, and Chastain was hit by Cody Robaugh, and that is big damage to the 45 of Chastain.
Talked about Johnny Sauter needing something good to happen. It just didn't.
Watch the collision on pit road, and it leads to this. Sauter comes out, hits Robaugh, and Robaugh then into Chastain.
Yeah, Robaugh was, you see the sign there left of your screen. That's where his pit was. He's trying to turn into his pit. Johnny coming out of his pits, Ross coming out of his pit. Just catastrophe here.
So Sauter was coming out, and Robaugh was going in, and they end up colliding, and that puts Robaugh into the right side of Ross Chastain.
These drivers and crew chiefs, they know how, when you have differing strategies on an early pit stop, you're going to have differing agendas, and the spotter really has to be on his toes to understand when Johnny Sauter fires out of the pits, there's another truck coming in. The communication is key for avoiding that.
As well as the crew chief, too, because you have to know who's pitting around you. We knew that the 9 was about 2 or 3 pits up. They should have said, hey, watch out for that 9. He's coming in his pits.
Let's talk with the 99 of Ben Rhodes, shall we?
Yeah, let's see what Ben's doing. Hey, bud, it's Michael Waltrip and the Fox Boys. Are you there? Hey, Ben Rhodes, it's Michael Waltrip and the Fox team. Can you hear me, bud?
Hey, Michael, I got you.
Well, you know what you have to do, and now you know you got a truck you can do it with. How good was that feeling of charging up to Chastain's tailgate there in stage 1? Now you're going to be up toward the front for this restart.
Oh, man, it's a great feeling. We have a really, really fast happening forward. I don't know there's a lot more I could ask for. We're just going to tune on the handling as the track changes here. Hopefully keep up with it and stay out of trouble.
Well, the only guy that beat you in stage 1 had an incident there on pit road, so that's probably the strongest truck next to yours. I think it's looking pretty good for you. We're going to follow along. Have fun.
Thanks, Michael.
It's a good-looking ride, too, by the way. How fast
Sometimes-
was Davey Allison of Michigan? Pretty good, wasn't he?
He was.
Chaos on pit road at Michigan.
Back here at Michigan, you're looking at the driver who led and won stage 1 but had a disastrous pit stop, and his chance at winning likely over. Ross Chastain has been back in the pits to assess the damage. He says his steering wheel in the right front is still kicked to the left after the collision here at pit road. They're just trying to assess it now to see what they can fix. He's been in. They had the baseball bat trying to bend things back to where they should be. He's coming down pit road again, trying to fix more of the damage, guys.
Well, certainly an issue for Ben Rhodes or for Ross Chastain and Johnny Sauter, but both of those guys have already won, and they're in the playoffs as you see them on pit road, and you'll see this incident. But sometimes you get a good break, and that's maybe the case for Ben Rhodes. As you see the incident, Sauter gets into Cody Robaugh. Robaugh then knocked into Ross Chastain.
A lot of times the teams will have a decision when the truck is within 2 pit boxes of their box, or when they're leaving for 2 pit boxes, the crew chief's responsibility is to spot for him, tell him whether they're clear or not. Now that's not always the case, but obviously a miscommunication there. Johnny just simply didn't get the word.
Yeah, the 9 truck was 5 pits in front of Johnny Sauter, and he had to get to pit road when he was coming, and you knew he was committed to going in his pit. Unfortunately, you see this, they are trying to fix the toe on the 45. When Allen reported that his steering wheel was off, that means his toe was off, and he did take a pretty hard shot to that right front.
Here's Phil Gould, the crew chief for Chastain.
Yeah, I just don't see this truck being competitive if they've got a tow problem. Maybe they can get it squared away, but it's going to be a long day's work.
And he led all the laps in stage 1, did Ross Chastain, won stage 1. And now that leaves Ben Rhodes at the front of the field. Rhodes chased Chastain for the better part of that first stage and finished second to Ross in stage 1. And we're talking about sometimes you catch bad breaks, and teams don't seem to ever forget those, but every now and then you catch a good one, and maybe that's what's happening here for Ben Rhodes. Is this a break that he can parlay into a win and a playoff spot? Stage 2 underway at Michigan.
See Brett Moffitt down on the inside. That team got in and out of the pit in good time. He's right up front like he was headed earlier.
And how about that neon 88 of Matt Crafton? Had to start at the rear. Didn't take him long to get toward the front.
Yeah, we debated on whether to take 2 tires, 4 tires. A lot of the guys went with fuel only on that pit stop at the end of stage number 1, knowing they really only have to run about 13 green flag laps in this second stage before it ends.
And I think there's a really good chance they'll get 4 at the end of this one and be set to maybe gas and go late. A lot of strategy. We knew that it would be that way, and these teams are playing it out.
Brett Moffitt runs second. Or check that. Moffitt runs fourth. Remember, he started second. He started on the inside on that restart, but lost a couple of positions on the restart.
Stuart Griesen goes way up high, opens up the middle of the racetrack. That's Natalie Decker, I think, that went by the 54 truck.
And the 4 of Gilliland fading a bit. Didn't have the speed we saw kind of in the second half of that first stage. Seemed like the speed, maybe part of the handling went away for that 4 truck.
Caught a glimpse of the 17 of Tyler Eck. Remember, he was penalized on the initial start. He was able to stay on the lead lap as we get a battle for the lead.
Grant Enfinger to the front as Rhodes. Did you see Rhodes wiggle? And now he's going to try to fight back on the outside. Great save from Ben Rhodes in that 99.
I thought he was on the straightaway when he wiggled there. I wasn't sure exactly what was going on.
I think maybe he went down to side draft the 98 truck of Enfinger and then saw in his mirror that the 18 of Burton was coming, went back up top to block.
On board with the 18 of Harrison Burton, currently running third.
See if that's the case. I better get over this way. Yeah. Just threw a block there as they enter turn 1. Happens in a hurry, doesn't it? 185, 190 miles an hour. You get your spotter saying you got one looking up top. You got to make a move in a hurry.
I thought Rhodes was going to lose that position to his teammate Enfinger, but he did not. You see the 4 ThorSport trucks and where they're running. And remember, of course, Johnny Sauter, that problem on pit road that has relegated him out of contention so far.
I just watched his last lap time, and his last lap time was the same exact time as what the leader ran. So he has a good truck, just needs to catch up a little bit.
10 to go in stage 2 at Michigan. You saw it, issues for the 51 of Christian Eckes. Now on pit road getting 4 fresh tires. Didn't look like he tore anything up in the process of having those the tires down, and now pit road, and just as we anticipated, going to take advantage of this stop.
Yeah, I love this strategy right here. Let's put 4 tires on now, and then that opens up the possibilities for later on.
And if you got right sides just now, you might just put lefts on. So there's all kinds of different strategies.
Hermie?
The 18 truck is loose, so they put 2 left side tires on and fuel, Allen.
4 tires and fuel, the strategy for the 99 right now. Remember, they took fuel only last time as they go around to the other side. Sort of a long pit stop there on the right side. 4 tires and fuel for the race leader.
A little struggle on the right front for the 99 of Rhodes. You see Crafton getting 4 in that first pit stall.
Ankrum pulls out after getting tires. Comes Rhodes.
See Johnny Sauter, that's the second truck in line on pit road. He's getting 4 tires and a chassis adjustment.
It's amazing, despite that damage that Sauter had, he was running some fast laps. In fact, among the top 4 or 5 before we went caution. And you see Eckes, I don't think there's any contact there, just
shows you how much air is blowing over these trucks and off these trucks. Jordan Anderson pulled up, and I guarantee you it shocked Eckes when that thing went spinning.
The final laps of stage 2 when we come back to Michigan. Getting ready to go back green here in the final laps of stage 2. Grant Enfinger and Brett Moffitt on the front row. 4 to go in stage 2 at Michigan.
Good restart by Moffitt on the bottom. Austin Hill, the 16, is lined up with Enfinger.
What about a man, Jordan Anderson, running up inside the top 5, racing for this stage win?
Talked to him during qualifying. He was just so happy that his stuff is getting better and better and better. He said what an amazing changeover from last year. How better his equipment is and how better he's running.
Todd Gilliland in the 4 truck. Meanwhile, at the front, a challenge for the lead. Can Austin Hill get it from Grant Enfinger?
Man, that was a powerful move, and he was able to hang beside Enfinger. And here comes Moffitt to the inside.
Slingshots down and gets the spot. 2 for 1.
We know how Moffitt knows how to go from third to first in a corner, and he did it just right, just there.
We've seen Moffitt make that move where he starts up high and then slings down underneath for the pass, and he got 2 at the price of 1 on that last move. Moffitt to the front for the first time today.
How about Gus Dean there in that 12 truck running up in the top 5 right now? He's going to slide up the racetrack, open up the bottom and the middle for the 99 of Rhodes and the 4 of Gilliland.
Those two trucks in a tight draft. Can they overcome that low line? I don't think so. The momentum up high is going to overcome it.
Pits are closed. Final 2 laps of stage 2. They click by quickly. Ben Rhodes trying to make his way back up.
What great stories up here racing inside the top 10. Gus Dean, Austin Self. There's Bailey Curry in 9th. Love this.
Brett Moffitt is in the front with Austin Hill chasing.
Remember, Brett Moffitt drove that 16 truck to victory here last year. Moved over to the GMS stable driving that 24.
I guarantee you someone that's been reminded of that is Austin Hill. You're in the truck that won, and he's trying to pass the guy that did the job a year ago.
Final lap here in stage 2. Brett Moffitt with a couple of wins this season. Austin Hill with 1 victory. Won the season opener at Daytona. And with a stage win comes that all-important playoff point that you carry with you throughout the playoffs. And Brett Moffitt is finishing the job here in stage 2, his 2nd stage win of the season. Hill chased him to the line with Enfinger, Anderson, and Rhodes filling out the top 5.
What a great job by Jordan Anderson. Top 5 here in this stage.
And we've seen momentum from the 22 truck itself recently. He had some great speed as well.
Moffitt has won the last 2 that he's raced here in Michigan. Can he make it 3 in a row today?
Back here at Michigan International Speedway, where the day ended for Ross Chastain, where we are now at the Care Center. He's all right, but you didn't really know what happened there on pit road other than you got hit and ended your day. How do you describe that?
Oh, it's gut-wrenching for sure. Yeah, I mean, we were 2 tires all the way was our plan. I went on the jack. I probably should have waited on Phil there. We had perfect execution all weekend with our Nice Motorsports, all of our boys and girls. It is a shame, but you're going to have that. It's part of racing, and they can't all be great days. We don't want to win all the races. We just want to win the ones that we're entered in. So it's tough to lose a race with a truck like we had today, but can't thank all the partners on board and Al Nice for believing in us, and we'll get that out of the way. God is good, and we'll go on to Bristol and be faster, even faster than we were here.
Ross Chastain still going for that title.
Well, and the good news for Chastain is he'll be in position for that title, the courtesy of some regular season wins.
You know, he mentioned going on the jack. When the jack dropped, he went. He should have said he probably should have listened to his crew chief, Phil Gould. I'm not sure he wouldn't have hit the 9 truck had Johnny Sauter not hit him first.
Going to put Hermie Sadler to work here, and all 3 of those that'll be hitting pit boxes will belong to Hermie.
Well, Vince, the 98 of Grant Enfinger at the top of your screen. His truck is tight, aero tight. There'll be 4 tires, a spring rubber in the right rear for the 98. The 16 of Austin Hill, he is tight, especially on the top of the racetrack. It'll be right side tires only for the 16. The 24 of Brett Moffitt wants no changes. They'll put 4 tires in fuel, and these will be scuff tires on the 24 this time.
Little tape on the front end of the 24 and 16 as well.
Nice job by the 88 of Matt Crafton. Get off of pit road second to Ben Rhodes.
And look who's creeping back into the story. Johnny Sauter making his way up toward the top 10.
How about the 2 truck of Sheldon Creed? He pitted on lap number 34. He knows that he can go about 40 laps, so he can go around lap 70 or 74. Let's talk to him. Hey, Sheldon Creed, Phil Parsons and the boys up in the Fox booth. You got a copy?
Hear you.
Pretty good strategy move by you and your guys there to stay on the racetrack. You pitted back earlier before the end of that stage. You guys can go now about 40 laps. Is that what your thinking was, to try to get some track position here?
Yeah, track position is going to be pretty big here today. Man, I was in the back there for a while, and the air is tough to work with. So got up front now. We're going to see what we can do. We've been working on the truck. I think we'll be okay up front. It's just if we get back in traffic again, you got to be good. So I can't thank my guys enough for working hard this weekend. We had a little switch up with crew chiefs and engineer and truck chief, so just trying to make work of it, and hopefully we're in victory lane.
Well, Sheldon, we know you know your way to victory lane, having won the ARCA Menards Series race here last year, so make it and do it again.
Thank you, boys.
Well, and as Sheldon mentioned, truck chief, engineer, and crew chief all out for 3 races, suspended after losing lead out of their truck last week at Eldora. Coming back for the final stage at Michigan. Those of you on the West Coast, thanks for getting up early with us for some racing here today in the Gander Outdoors Truck Series at Michigan. The Xfinity Biggest Movers. How about Matt Crafton? We've seen him slice through the field after having to start at the rear with that engine change after qualifying.
Yeah, and up on the front row for this restart will be the 54 truck of Natalie Decker. She'll be down on the inside. See that black N29 Tundra as she pulls to the inside of Sheldon Creed.
How about the 02 of Dipple and the 99 of Ben Rhodes? Remember, we left Eldora with people having to separate those two after an on-track skirmish.
The two supposedly have not spoken since then. Ben said he hoped that the crew chief smoothed things over, but never know how that works out.
That's when you're Ben Rhodes, you look over to your inside. And, what's that guy thinking? How's he feel about last week, I wonder?
I've seen a lot of feathers get ruffled here in the 3 series between the trucks and Xfinity Series, the Cup Series.
And we've seen a lot of twists and turns already in this race. We talked about whether you get 2, gas and go, when you make those pit stops.
And with the points in the pylon, you see that with Sheldon Creed leading here on this restart, just take him to the top as if he would win the race. That would knock Matt Crafton, 2-time series champ, out of the playoffs. Now, we got a long way to go for Creed to win the race, but for conversation, there you go.
Matt Crafton would say, that doesn't mean anything. He's not going to win this race. I'm going to win the race.
And that's the worst possible scenario for Matt Crafton, Jr. Joyner, and that entire ThorSport team was for somebody below that cut line, like we have Sheldon Creed leading this race, go on and win.
Well, the outside line has been the line that has moved on the restarts. It's the preferred line, and right behind Sheldon Creed on the outside of row 1, you have Ben Rhodes, and both of those drivers, and then Todd Gilliland, third in line on the outside. All 3 must win to make the playoffs.
As well as Dipple down on the bottom. He's got himself worked into a good spot here, but I'm really nervous about this restart. A lot of inexperience up front. Have to make sure these guys and girls do their job perfectly.
Natalie Decker on the inside, Sheldon Creed outside. The final stage of the regular season finale. It's underway at Michigan.
Nice job by Natalie down on the bottom, only falling back to second on that low lane. We know how hard it is to get going down there. Look at Moffitt all the way up in the traction compound making ground.
He's the guy that's been up there most consistently up in that traction compound, and he's made it work.
Ben Rhodes taking a look and trying to make the pass for the lead on Creed. He's going to do it, and Tyler Dipple going down to the white line as well, trying to get third from Todd Gilliland.
Dipple didn't have a hole to pull into, so now he's side by side with Gilliland. The outside should prevail.
Slips into that open spot, but the change at the front puts Ben Rhodes in the lead. And how about 4 wide?
How about that 8 truck right there? Bailey Curry really doing a nice job. We haven't talked a whole lot about him. Obviously, Joe Nemechek is in the 8 truck. Bailey Curry is in the 44 truck.
Look at Joe up on the high side. He knows how to get it done in Michigan. Nice run down the back straightaway.
Corey Roper in the 04.
Here comes Bailey Curry.
There he is.
There in the 44.
I knew he was up there somewhere.
Battling.
Roper in the 04, Brett Moffitt in the 24 as Moffitt continues to work his way inside the top 10.
How frustrating is that for Moffitt? As fast as that truck is, racing with guys he probably hasn't even raced with before, and they're holding him off.
Creed taking another look, but Rhodes going to be able to hold him off.
I think Ben's truck was stronger earlier, Phil. He doesn't seem to be able to run away from the pack at all, and we saw him chase down our leader, Ross Chastain, in the early stages. Now he's got 3 trucks drafting right off of him.
Now Creed dives to the bottom again and is going to make the pass and slides up in front of Rhodes for the lead change, and it's Creed back in front.
And Michael, they're running fast lap times So that last lap, Ben Rhodes ran a 39.47, which is a really fast lap time. The only problem is Creed ran a 26.
Sheldon Creed, last year's ARCA champ. In fact, won the race here at Michigan in ARCA last year. He has shown speed throughout the course of this season. He even made a crew chief change just a couple of weeks ago. But since then, Jeff Stankiewicz, who is the crew chief on this 2-truck and was Creed's crew chief in ARCA for that ARCA championship a year ago. We mentioned a few moments ago, not with the team this week because of that suspension. Lead fell out of the truck last week at Eldora, and that's a big penalty. In fact, the three, the crew chief, the truck chief, the engineer, all suspended. So Darren Fraley got that position today, got a crew chief by committee.
What a battle these guys are having here on the racetrack, though.
Rhodes back to the front. Both these drivers must win to get into the playoffs, which start Thursday at Bristol.
That draft, you can see that draft pull that 2-truck of Sheldon Creed right up to the tailgate of the 99 of Ben Rhodes.
They've developed a bit of a gap back to Todd Gilliland, pulling away some, but Gilliland's a perfect distance back to pull that draft down the straightaway. See Tyler Ankram's closed right in the back, right onto the back of Dipple.
Just past halfway in this race. We've completed 52 laps. We know we're going to have another pit stop. It'll come about 10 laps sooner for people like Sheldon Creed and Tyler Dipple that last pitted on lap number 34.
I like this 17 truck. Ankram's making a nice move there. He ran down these top 4 trucks. What a story he's been in 2019, huh?
We talked earlier. You know, obviously came out of nowhere, wasn't even old enough to start the season. Didn't turn 18 till we were 3 races in. And now here he is, a championship contender.
After that win at Kentucky a few weeks back.
How about that? A couple of our guys that were going to race for a championship, Ross Chastain and Ankram, weren't around at the beginning of the year. We didn't know this was going to be the story. That's why you got to love these truckers.
You know what's amazing is when you look, how about Austin Hill splitting the difference right down the middle.
What a run he had coming off for turn number 2.
Here we go back at the front. What a run we're having up there.
Back and forth for the lead, and now it's Creed back to the point. Talked about the point standings, and we do, of course, throughout the course of the season, but the top 8 in points, you know, there's 4 drivers that are going to make the playoffs that aren't in the top 8 in points, but they've won a race, and that's the difference maker. Win to get in, and it really puts a premium on winning. And, well, I tell you what, you know, guys like Austin Hill started it out at the beginning of the season. Ross Chastain, we've talked about, wasn't a championship contender at the beginning of the season. Ankram, as you guys talk about, I mean, it's just been a crazy season in that regard.
And how about our top 4 running right now are all playoff eligible, as we see Ben Rhodes go back to the lead, all playoff eligible and have not yet won this year.
And that's why, that could be why they're all running up front. They know that it's the last chance to do just that, but they better keep their eye on the rearview mirror. Remember how strong Brett Moffitt was at the end of the first stage. As he gets laps on the tires, Moffitt just gets better and better. He was 10th 5 laps ago. Now he's racing inside of Harrison Burton for 8th. I think this truck will be a factor before the race is over. Jay Baxter and that team will have to make the right calls on this strategy. I'm really interested to see how soon someone will come in, get maybe a tank of gas and 2 right side tires and try to use that to propel themselves to the victory.
Yeah, the window is right now, you got to get around to lap 60 and then be full of fuel to get to the end. We talk about our pit window being somewhere around 38 to 40 laps. I think every crew chief would be comfortable. Oh, Corey Roper into the outside wall.
Corey Roper slaps it on the right rear, and the caution is out.
Well, we're not quite to 60, Vince, but I think we have to come to pit road here. Top this thing up. By the time we'll be lap 58 by the time pit road will open. That's awfully darn close. We're gonna have to stop in and save some fuel.
Roper was running in the 12th position, and this is that time where you got to roll the dice, right?
You gotta come to pit road.
I'm getting gas.
Corey Roper into the wall, brings out the caution. pit stops coming from Michigan. Beautiful day to be at the racetrack, and the fans in force in the infield at Michigan. Pit stops, varying strategies. Some taking gas only, some 2, some 4.
I just like the idea of pitting. Brett Moffitt, the 24 truck, stays out on the racetrack.
As did the 22 himself. Watched the action on pit road again. Some collisions.
Okay, there's Gillen. He's going tires on the right side.
Creed takes right side only.
Johnny Sauter gets fuel only in a chassis adjustment. Matt Crafton's getting right side tires. Ankram's getting right side tires. Contact. Stuart Friesen, the 52, that blue truck, hits Jennifer Jo Cobb and turns her sideways on pit road, top of your screen.
And you saw there, Johnny Sauter nearly missed Robaugh again. They almost got together.
Crafton ended up taking 4.
Wow. I love the differing agendas, the differing strategies, but I just wonder what Jerry Baxter and Moffitt and them are thinking about staying out here. He has a competitive truck. He got back in traffic and it was hard to pass. Try to pull some strategy to gain that track position back. It's just hectic on pit road because of all the differing plans these crew chiefs are putting together.
Yeah, those other guys that pitted on this pit stop, and girls, have 15 laps more fuel than does Brett Moffitt, which means it would take him longer to get his truck full when he does come to pit road.
So what would be a reason that Moffitt chose not to come? Moffitt and Jerry Baxter chose not to come there.
I guess they found it so hard to pass, even though they got such a fast truck, that they needed that track position, maybe thinking we can get out front and run hard, gap some folks, and then when we do need fuel, we'll be able to get gas and back onto the track on the lead lap and be in a position to have a little bit fresher tires as the race winds down.
He'd only gotten back to, what, 8th or 9th before that caution flag came out.
Updates from pit road, beginning with Allen.
I'm down here in the 99 pit with Ben Rhodes' crew chief, Matt Noyce. You need the win. Things have been breaking your way, but the real question will be fuel now. What's the situation?
We're close. We're about 2-3 laps short, but I think if we're getting a couple of yellows, we'll be fine. This whole yellow here is helping us a lot, too. We're about 2 laps short on our window, but we got to go for it. I didn't think everybody would come with us, but they all did, so we're all in the same boat, so it's all good then.
All good, he says, Hermie.
Darren Fraley is the interim crew chief for Sheldon Creed. You guys came down pit road, got 2 tires. What did you need to improve your truck to give him a shot to win?
Just been a little bit loose on the longer we run, so feel a little tire pressure there, and hopefully we'll tighten them up a little bit. We'll see. So.
How about your fuel situation?
Yeah, be pretty close.
Pretty close. That's going to be the common theme up and down pit road. No pressure on Darren.
When your voice changes an octave or 2, it's a...
I think it means you're not sure. But the only thing right now for Brett Moffitt and Austin Wayne Self is we know that they cannot go the rest of the way. Everybody else in this field has the intentions of going the rest of the way from here. If we don't get another caution flag, then I think those guys in the first 2 positions, Brett Moffitt and Austin Wayne Self, are going to be in trouble.
I think they're planning on a late caution and be in good shape because of the fresher tires. I think Moffitt also, it's going to be interesting to me to see if he's able to pull away. We saw him really moving in late in that first stage. Now that he's going to have that track position, can he take advantage of it?
I'm not sure that the draft will let anyone pull away, though, Michael.
Matt Crafton came back down pit road a second time and got a little bit more fuel. The 16 of Austin Hill penalized for speeding on pit road.
I told you it was going to be chaotic on pit road, and we saw a little bit of everything.
Grant Enfinger, his team penalized for over the wall too soon, as was the 0-2 of Tyler Dipple. Austin Wayne Self and Brett Moffitt stayed out, so they'll restart on the front row. That's Moffitt on the outside, last year's race winner. They can't make it to the end, but they will start at the front as we go to lap 62 here at Michigan.
Harrison Burton jumps down underneath the 22 of Austin Wayne Self. Now they're 3 wide. Johnny Sauter in the middle in the 13.
How about the job Sauter has done? They suffered that damage on pit road, had to start in the back, and they have just marched their way back through. Team did a great job getting the repairs done on that 13 truck, and he has not lost much speed.
Well, look at this roadblock.
For the lead, Todd Gilliland out front for the first time today.
Todd knows what he has to do. He knows he has to get to victory lane to make the playoffs as we continue to go 3 wide.
Crafton on the bottom with Johnny Sauter and Bailey Curry in the 44. Just ahead of them, the 52 of Stuart Friesen. Haven't mentioned his name much today, just inside the top 15. Of course, winner last week at Eldora.
Wow, look at that run that Moffitt has on Gilliland. Can he take advantage of it? Like Gilliland's running a little bit higher in the corners.
Rhodes dives down to take third from Austin Wayne Self. Tyler Ankrum is sneaking right there as well, trying to get that spot from the 22. Won't get it this time. Meanwhile, Moffitt stalking the 4 of Todd Gilliland.
Todd wants to keep that lead. You see him moving around down the straightaways, trying to discourage that 24 from going to the outside.
Hey guys, I just had a chance to speak to Jerry Baxter, the crew chief of the 24, as to why they stayed on the racetrack. He said they are 6 laps short. Had they pitted, maybe not getting some of the fuel mileage some of the other trucks are getting. He is a little bit concerned, however, that of the trucks that may have to stop, he'll have to get more fuel than maybe some of the others. So look for around laps 75 to 78. Maybe see the 24 on pit road.
Saw a good shot there of Jerry Baxter. Look of concern knowing that he's on a different plan, but look at his driver Moffitt running up into the traction compound. Look at the momentum it gives him off the corner.
We saw a couple guys that were penalized early in the race make it down pit road without stopping and not losing a lap. But I think they're talking about you can only be on pit road about 6 or 7 seconds if you're leading and come back out and not get lapped.
No driver who has run for Kyle Busch Motorsports has had more starts without a win than Todd Gilliland. To say he's been on the hot seat this season, well, that's an understatement. But boy, what an exclamation mark it would be if he could finish the job here today. But first, there's a caution, and which is going to help some of those teams that maybe were a couple of laps short, as we heard Matt Noyce, the crew chief for the 99, indicate.
Yeah, I think it's got to bring Jerry Baxter to pit road. I don't think we can take a chance of not getting another caution. You think you stay out for Jerry Baxter?
No, I think he has to come to pit road.
Yeah, absolutely.
Be done with it, but he's going to lose all that track position. And we've talked earlier how hard it is for these guys to pass. He's going to be probably one of the only few trucks on pit road. I'd put 4 tires on it too.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you have to lose?
Watch way back here at the top of the screen, the 9 of Robaugh go around.
Like he is racing beside that white truck really close. I don't know if there was contact or not. Been an eventful day for this 9 truck, hasn't it?
Sure has. Things haven't been calm on pit road for it at all.
Not like you'd want your honeymoon to go. Cody Robaugh just married last Saturday.
To Brooklyn.
To his wife, Brooklyn. And now he's, honey, we're going to Brooklyn, Michigan for our honeymoon.
That's a good woman right there.
And it's gorgeous this time of the year in Brooklyn, Michigan.
Boy, what a beautiful day today. Ask for anything more.
See a lot of people in a saving fuel agenda. You see the big gaps between those trucks.
I think I remember my brother took his beautiful wife Stevie to the racetrack for their honeymoon, and I don't think she really knew they were going to the racetracks.
She must have liked it because she's hung around a long time.
Yes, she has.
Marcia and I got married in North Wilkesboro on a race weekend in North Wilkesboro.
Todd Gilliland out front. Brett Moffitt you see there in second, but Moffitt's getting ready to come to pit road.
We think.
He should.
We think.
Yeah, Austin Wayne Self, the 22, should come to pit road as well. And I think these caution laps are enough insurance to give these guys to stay on the racetrack, keep that track position.
So there's Moffitt himself, as expected.
Look like Sauter may be following these guys down pit road, maybe needs a chassis adjustment. And certainly a little of insurance appeal for Johnny Sauter.
Yeah, their mileage might just have been off enough to where they said, we better take advantage of this.
Hermie?
Well, this caution flag changed the strategy for Jerry Baxter. They are on pit road. It'll be 4 tires. Top off with fuel, no adjustments. And we know the truck is fast. It's been really good on longer runs. We'll have to see how he's able to get through this traffic, and especially restarts will be very, very important for the 24.
Don't you like Brett Moffitt on offense, though? He's got those 4 fresh tires, enough gas to get there. I like this move.
And nothing to lose.
Going to be fun to watch. Brett Moffitt coming from deep in the field. Can he do it again at Michigan? How about these trucks in the first round of the playoffs?
Well, those three racetracks are almost identical, aren't they?
Wow. Bristol and then the road course at Canada. A mile and a half at Las Vegas.
What racing we've seen at Las Vegas for these trucks, too. Wow.
We had some great finishes at on the road course up in Toronto area.
Todd Gilliland and Ben Rhodes on the front row for this restart. Gilliland on the outside, going to the lead.
Gilliland's getting a nice push from his teammate Harrison Burton on that 18 truck. He's in the same boat as Todd Gilliland. Harrison Burton needs to win too, and he pulls to the inside.
What about Tyler Ankrum in third? He started this race on pit road, had to come for a penalty on a start violation. Now he's battling up there for the lead.
Side by side, teammates Harrison Burton and Todd Gilliland, and Ben Rhodes says, let me get in that traction compound and think about 3 wide. Instead pulls down, but 3 drivers right there got a win to get in and setting the stage for a great finish.
What a great move by Ben Rhodes. He said, if they put that traction compound down, I'm going to use it.
That was awesome.
Well, Burton gets hung out on the inside there, and you're going to lose a spot or 2.
Look at Gus Dean there in that 12 truck, Vince.
Oh, he lost the nose.
Lost the nose. Did he get into the wall?
No, I think he didn't. Wow, that was a great job of avoiding contact, but certainly slipped away on him.
Lost all his momentum. Look at the trucks just drive by him.
Well, if you have to get out of the gas, you are going to get swallowed up in a hurry.
It's interesting to me that line the 4 of Todd Gilliland's taken. When he exits the corner, he's a little bit higher than the rest of the competition. It looks like it's not turning as well as he'd hoped, but he's able to keep his foot in it and keep the momentum. This time he goes all the way up into it in the center. He's been creeping up all day long. I like this.
I think it would make it hard for somebody to pass him on the inside. I like that line for Gilliland right there.
Is he running that line, Mike, you think, because of the way his truck is handling, or is that by design?
I think he's just learning. He's trying to make sure he does everything in his power to win this race. And I think the handling of the truck dictates that it comes up higher on exit a bit, but he was experimenting down turns 1 and 2 with that traction compound.
Yeah, he didn't have to use it down in 3 and 4, or elected not to use it anyway down in turn 3 and 4 this last time through there.
Gilliland came into this race 7th in points, but well outside the playoff picture, and
all 4 tires
win
up there
today.
He is going for it.
And the best thing for those first 2 trucks out front, Todd Gilliland and Ben Rhodes, is to work together, try to make something of a gap. As you see, the 18 and 17, they can't just get away from them too much. Remember, the 4 and the 99 also have potential fuel issues. The crew chief for the 4, Wes Ward, says they think they are good, but out there in the lead, he can't save any fuel, guys.
What about Matt Crafton? We've been talking about all these guys that have to win. Matt knows that, and if one of them wins, he's in trouble. He's got to get up there and race for this win.
And Junior Joyner brought him in on lap number 60 for a little extra fuel, so he has 2 laps more fuel than the guys racing up in front of him right now.
And that's Tyler Ankrum immediately in front of Crafton. Oh, what a great finish to the regular season it has been for Tyler Ankrum. Of course, getting that win at Kentucky, but he, over the course of the last month or so, he's been as good as any.
And it's been fun to watch these racers that come onto the scene and just automatically, doesn't matter whether we're at a half mile at Martinsville or up on the high banks here at Michigan, they know how to race these trucks.
For the lead, Ben Rhodes getting around Gilliland, making it stick, and to the point goes the 99 of Rhodes.
That was just an old-fashioned slingshot there is what that was.
Taking a break here at Michigan, but we'll keep it side by side so you won't miss a thing. Gonna keep on trucking. At the beginning of the show, we told you it was going to be fast and furious, and it has indeed. The lead just continues to swap back and forth amongst a handful of drivers. And when we went to commercial break, and you saw it during the break, Ben Rhodes went from 1st to 6th and then eventually had to come to pit road. Watch the replay.
Ben Rhodes through the middle, up to the high side, but then there was contact right there, and I think that cut his left rear tire.
I thought it looked like Gilliland hit him square in the left rear corner, but He's going to come to pit road here and going to put him a lap down. You see them going to change right sides.
And you heard it. He just had right side tires down. That's why they had to come. Ben Rhodes, we're talking about down here in the pits. They're trying to figure out who they're racing out there right now on the track. Seem to try and see what they can do to get back on the lead lap, hopefully. Let's see what they can do to finish out this race, guys.
Gander Outdoors, 20 to go here at Michigan. Austin Hill, he won the season opener, trying to win the regular season finale now. Put a bookend on it.
See Todd Gillen, that Ford truck, hop high into the traction compound once again as we see Sheldon Creed, Matt Crafton go side by side for the third spot.
Here comes Todd Gilliland down, making it 3 wide inside, now side by side with his teammate Harrison Burton. They've all been at the front today at some point or another.
And look who's joined the party. Number 24, Brett Moffitt, came to pit road, got those tires. We said he's got a great long-run truck. Could he take advantage of fresh rubber? Man, he's making a run through this field.
He restarted 22nd, Michael, and this is his progress right now, racing up among the leaders back in about the 6th spot.
And Rhodes back on pit road again.
Looks like that right front's down, Phil.
It sure does.
Ben Rhodes hopes. Boy, he was so confident of the truck that they had when we talked to him after the second stage. Really thought that maybe he was going to be able to finish the job and win this race and grab that final playoff spot, but it's not going to be his day today.
Matt Crafton rides long up ahead of this battle here for 4th. Give that position to Creed with a big push from Brett Moffitt.
How about Christian Eckes? He was a lap down not long ago, got the free pass. Now he races his way back into contention.
Look at Moffitt using that good handling truck and those fresher tires around the outside. He goes on Sheldon Creed
for 4th. Those 3 ahead of him, Austin Hill in the 16, Tyler Ankrum in the 17, and Matt Crafton in the 88. Crafton started at the back of the field. Remember, came into this race with the 8th and final playoff spot, and he said, hey, to make sure nobody else wins and knocks me out, I need to go out and win, and he is in contention here today.
Good run down the front. He was able to really close in on Ankrum.
Comforting for Matt Crafton, knowing the 2 guys running in front of him already winners this year, already qualified for the playoffs, and the guy immediately behind him, Brett Moffitt, the same situation.
Crafton would probably say right now, let's just call this one off. Let's end it right here.
I'll take 3rd.
I'll take 3rd today because then I know I'm going to race for a championship. Brett Moffitt says, not so fast. I'm winning this race. Wow. What a great run through the field.
The crazy thing about Brett Moffitt, he's won 2 of the last 3 races here. In fact, both the last 2 that he has raced here, but 2 of the last 3 overall here at Michigan. He's led a total of 6 laps in those 2 wins. I mean, he doesn't need to be at the front for another 15 laps or so.
And he's going to get there, too. Look at him make up some ground on the inside. He was the fastest truck that last lap. Remember, the freshest tires in the field here for Brett Moffitt.
You got to give it up, though, for Matt Crafton, junior joiner of that team. They had to go to the rear after an engine change, started back there, didn't like their truck yesterday after practice. Talked to Junior this morning. He was telling us he made a lot of changes to that truck, and look at the experience and the knowledge and how well it's paying off for this 88 team.
I always talk to Junior Joiner. He's always so positive, so optimistic, and this was the least optimistic that I've heard him in several weeks, and here he is contending for a win.
Of course, had that clutch issue in practice or in qualifying today, and the 51 of Christian Eckes has gone around and into the grass. Doesn't look to be huge damage to Eckes' truck, but it will bring out the caution.
Right where he should be able to stay on the lead lap, I would think here.
He was inside the top 10 when things started heading the wrong direction for him.
Do you think this is an advantage for Moffitt? It's going to take some laps away, but he's going to be able to start. He's going to restart 4th on the outside line.
Yeah, I tell you who didn't really want to see this caution was Matt Crafton. Things were calm, settled down up near the front, calm as we've seen them anyway lately, and now they're all going to bunch up. Crafton's got to be on his game.
He realizes he has an issue. You see the tire is already down on that truck.
What a great job by Anthony Alfredo. Did you see him barely slip inside of that 51 truck?
You see it's already shredding. Christian doing everything he can do to keep that truck straight. I think he's going to be okay. I don't think the splitter was destroyed as he went through the grass.
Looks like it ought to have been, didn't it?
Should have.
Thankful no one got into Eckes as he came back up the track.
See that tread torn completely off the right rear tire there.
Good shot of the inner liner that stayed up throughout that situation.
The restarts are always crazy, and we're going to see another one. It's going to be exciting here as we get down the stretch. Let's check in with Hermie.
Well, Jerry Baxter, your driver went from 22nd back up to 4th. So I know you're a little bit happy to see me now, and you were a little while ago. But do you have, I know you got the driver, the setup, the tires, everything to get this done.
You know, we're starting Forrest will be on the outside. That's preferred lane, so it seems like most of the restarts have been on the bottom, so that's a good thing. He was kind of using his head to make sure we stayed in 4th in case of a caution until the end, but Chevy Accessories truck's good, man. It's been good all day, and thought I made a bad call. We'll see how it turns out.
Allen.
Todd Gilliland in right now, getting left side tires there in his pit stall. Remember, he's one of these drivers. All he can do is win this race to make the playoff. Todd Gilliland in and out on pit road.
Obviously, the truck wasn't handling in a manner that Todd thought he could go up there and contend for the win. So you got to take a chance, and this is a big chance. It's also, maybe it's the team saying if there's another caution, if this racing is going to continue to be as crazy as it's been all day, these leaders might wreck and we'll be in a better spot. So I like the call. You can't win doing just sitting there, so they decided to come to pit road.
Well, it's going to be a shootout to the finish. Coming back for the conclusion at Michigan. Fans enjoying their day, and will do so tomorrow as well.
Setting up in the stands or out in that beautiful infield, up on your camper.
Of course, you can get caught up on all the weekend's activities with our gang at Race Hub, and it begins on Monday evening. Check them out all week long.
This week on NASCAR Race Hub, will there be an Irish brawl in the hills of Michigan? Tensions are high, and Radioactive will be full throttle. And it's Truck Media Day. We'll have all 8 drivers in studio as we head to the Last Bay Coliseum for round number 1 of the playoffs. Plus, we're rattling cages. We'll take a look at Dale Earnhardt's iconic 1999 Bristol win on this 20th anniversary. That's all this week on NASCAR Race Hub. Weeknights at 6 p.m. Eastern, only on FS1.
Will they be talking about a 3rd Michigan win for Brett Moffitt? How about that 2016 victory for Moffitt?
This was the pass of the year. He went up there where no man had ever been all day long. You could see him blowing up dust, taking the lead. What a great move.
3 wide for the victory was Brett Moffitt. Led just that last lap on that afternoon. Came back and won again last year. And he is in position to get it done again today.
He's in a great spot right now, as Jerry Baxter said, going to line up on the outside. And he said a great strategy move by him to stay in 4th in case we had a late caution flag. He knows how good a truck he has right now. If he can maybe get by Tyler Ankrum and Matt Crafton to grab that 2nd spot here after they run a half a lap or a lap or so, then he's in great shape.
What an entertaining affair it's been today, huh? We've seen so many differing strategies and variables that have played into these 2 on the front row. Austin Hill, like Vince said, trying to book in the regular season with this big win.
You go back to Harrison Burton restarting in that 3rd row that needs to win to get in. Those in front of him will make the playoffs as it currently stands and as they currently ride. Burton's got to get from 5th to 1st. 10 to go at Michigan.
Great start on the bottom for Ankrum. Big push from Matt Crafton.
Moffitt giving Austin Hill a push, but it's going to be Tyler Ankrum. For the first time all day, they've made the bottom line work, and Ankrum is in the lead, going to be challenged.
Here comes Austin Hill, going to do the crossover back to the inside.
Hill in front. Made it work. How about Tyler Dipple in the 0-2? runs up to the third spot. Moffitt's going to try to get around him on the outside.
Harrison Burton now way down to the inside, trying to grab that spot from Moffitt.
Hill and Ankrum at the front, being pursued by Moffitt.
I think right now Matt Crafton needs to play defense. The guys in front of him are okay to win. He needs to keep those other trucks behind him. If he keeps all those trucks behind him, he makes the playoffs.
Yeah, here comes Todd Gilliland. Remember, he came and got left side tires and an adjustment because his truck wasn't handling, and all of a sudden he's back up into the mix.
He's rolling too, Vince.
He is.
Big move down the back straightaway for that young man.
Ankrum dips down low and takes a look. Can he make it stick on Austin Hill for the lead again?
Look at Moffitt on the outside.
All the way up into the traction compound. Not many have gone up there today, and Moffitt's trying to make it work in the closing laps.
He's going to have a little bit of momentum. Will he have any help from behind from Crafton?
Caution is out. Christian Eckes has gone around in turn 2.
Gotta tell you, Vince, I'm happy for these cautions. I can't hold my breath this long. I mean, they're racing so hard side by side and blocking each other. You just know they're gonna make a mistake every lap that goes by. The intensity goes up.
I'm like you, Michael. I keep thinking we're going to get a caution, not because of this spin out here. You see, obviously, Christian was on the ape and he knew he had some sort of an issue, another flat tire, I'm sure. Christian's got to run out of tires eventually here, as many flat tires as he's had.
He must have had another rub or something on that right rear. It's going to be interesting to watch Todd Gilliland. Man, he made some great moves. He pitted, started outside the top 20 and is already in the top 10, and we saw him way high on the track passing guys.
We talked about Moffitt restarting on the outside that last restart. He's going to be on the inside on this restart.
But we also saw him make that inside lane work. Tyler Ankrum got a big push and was able to shoot to the front from the inside.
And remember, Tyler Dipple is still in the playoff mix as well. If he would get up there and win this race today, he would get in and take that last playoff spot. And right now, Dipple runs 5th. Mike, you made a great point in regards to Todd Gilliland, and he needed this caution. I mean, this caution of all people plays into the hand, if you will, of Gilliland. At least may not get him to the front, but at least it gives him a little better opportunity.
Well, he needed a reset. He started outside the top 20, drove up to where he is now, gets this reset, stack them all up, maybe makes the right moves here and has a shot to win this thing. I like the call about Wes Ward, bringing him to pit road. I thought they were running 8th. They weren't going to win from there. It obviously couldn't drive the truck to his liking. Now he's got something under him he can be aggressive with.
So much success out of Kyle Busch Motorsports, 74 victories for the team, and you see at least one driver in the playoffs each of the last 3 seasons. You had the Bell Championship in 2017, but as it stands right now, no drivers in the playoffs. Not Gilliland, not Harrison Burton. They have to win today. One of those drivers must win to get in. Hard to believe that we'd be at the beginning of the season. If you told me Kyle Busch Motorsports is not going to be in the playoffs, I'd have bet everything.
I would have too. Yeah, I would have bet the bank on that for sure.
Well, we're getting ready for this restart, and you know, Michigan is one of those tracks. It says drama in the late stages. 5 of the last 6 races here, the final lead change has taken place in the last 4 laps, and we're set up for that kind of finish here today.
We may have more than one lead change here in the last 4 laps, Vince.
And I think this is the most lead changes I've seen all year. I mean, these guys, other than Daytona and Talladega, these guys have really been mixing it up in the front. Now, they might not get all the way back to the start-finish line with the lead. They might lose it before they get there, so it isn't necessarily official. But, wow, what great racing we have here in our truck series at Michigan.
And Tyler Ankrum, if you haven't been watching this series week in, week out, you're thinking, where in the world does this kid come from? We've seen the steady progression from him. And, of course, he got the big win at Kentucky under the guidance of longtime crew chief Bono Mannion, Gilliland Crosley Racing, and there's a good look at Bono. How many Rolaids does a crew chief go through in a season?
A whole package, that's for sure.
Wow, the stress. And they've already secured their spot in the playoffs, and he still looks anxious.
Well, these race wins are big. Now, that's what Bono's here for, to get this race win.
Here we go, 1 to go.
So when we take the green, there will be 4 laps remaining. Tyler Ankrum on the outside, Austin Hill on the inside. We've seen that outside line be the preferred lane, except for that last restart.
Yeah, that means it's possible to do. And that's all that Austin Hill wants to know, that it's possible.
We were talking about Bono. Let's hear from him.
Yeah, down here with Bono, man, in Tyler Ankrum's crew chief. Your driver has the lead. He's got control of this race. Does he have plenty of fuel to win it?
I wouldn't call it plenty. You know, I'm hoping enough. You know, it's going to be real close. Obviously, this last caution helped tremendously. He's done a great job getting the lead, and I don't know. We'll have to just wait and see.
We've seen the late race excitement before, guys, from Tyler Ankrum.
How cool is it? We're talking about Tyler Ankrum up there in control of this race. We didn't even know him a year ago, and now look at him.
Came into the season with great credentials. He was a K&N East champion last year. I saw him win some super late model races in the Cars Tour a few years ago. But man, he's came on like a storm here.
DGR Crosley, you got to give them a lot of credit too for the trucks they bring to the racetrack. Anthony Alfredo is inside the top 10 as well, always very competitive.
Natalie Decker inside the top 15 right now.
Good run for her today.
Harrison Burton and Tyler Dipple back in row 3. The 4 in front of them already in the playoffs as it stands. They have to make a big move to get to the front in these final laps. 4 laps remaining, 4 to go at Michigan. Oh, and Ankrum gets a big shove, and it's going to bring out a big caution and a big accident. Gilliland is involved, Sauter involved, Alfredo in the mix as well. The 20 of Spencer Boyd, and this is going to be a big cleanup.
I just talked about 2 of the 3 trucks involved in that big crash. There you saw Alfredo.
Looked like he spun his tires on that restart. Matt Crafton, I'm sure, was trying to help him get going initially. See Natalie Decker, we just talked about her having such a great run up in the top 15.
All 3 of the DGR Crosley trucks involved in that. There they set. That's a tough blow right there for a team sitting there in position to win the race.
A lot of damage on the 4 truck as I see it drive around the racetrack for Todd Gilliland. He caught a piece of that.
Now will NASCAR red flag this race, or are we going to have to go overtime, and that brings the fuel
issue into the equation.
It's good to see Ankrum out of his truck. All drivers will. Anthony Alfredo climbing out as well.
Matt Crafton's trying to help Tyler Ankrum, and
well, you clearly saw Ankrum spinning the tires.
Yeah,
see what
Matt was still trying to help too, don't you think, Michael? He was just trying to help him get going. You heard Matt back off when he got a little bit sideways, but it was too late then.
And what a tough break for Todd Gilliland. He put himself in a position, and now his truck's tore up.
Jordan Anderson, after such a good run, also involved in that 3 truck.
I mean, there's no fault of Crafton there, is there?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, you're going to be more aggressive. It's the race is on the line, so you're going to want to push. And when Ankrum spun his tires, it put him in a bad position. Matt had a run, got into the back of him. Certainly did not mean to turn Ankrum around, but that was the result of what was meant to be a helpful shove down the front straightaway.
And Ankrum needed to get going after spinning those tires, and if he didn't turn them sideways, then that push is going to help.
Well, here's the restart prior to this one, and you see Crafton giving Ankrum a shove there as well.
That had to build the lead. Yeah, that had to build a lot of confidence in those 2 drivers that we're going to get this restart done as well. But when Ankrum spun his tires, Matt was just going too fast to really help.
And here's the difference in the one that just happened.
Right there, you saw it. That's just a shame. Such a great race. Have that big pile up here late.
The cleanup continues. setting the stage for a crazy finish at Michigan. Thank you, Mike, and looking forward to baseball right after the conclusion of this one here at Michigan, and it is going to be a dramatic finish. Austin Hill and Brett Moffitt will restart on the front row once the carnage is taken care of. As you see, major accident on the restart. Tyler Ankrum, that truck that's being towed off, was restarting on the front row, got a bump from Matt Crafton behind him, and went around and collected a bunch in the process.
Yeah, these guys would love to get back racing. We talked earlier about the fuel issues. You know, we go into overtime, stretch this thing out, could have some guys stumble.
Hermie?
Well, I'm up on the pit box with Scott Zipadelli pushing some of these buttons, figuring fuel. You say it's close. How close is it?
Close. We're okay, though. We're okay. Austin's been saving. We got good mileage. You know, when you're in the pack, you're kind of lifting and rolling in and out of the throttle. So hopefully he's done a good job saving all we could. But, you know, the Hino Toyota Tundra has been really, really good since we unloaded. It's a brand new truck, and I'm super proud of everybody at HRE and all of our vendors, all of our everybody back at the shop.
You sound like a driver thinking all the sponsors, but how about if we have an overtime? Are you good for an overtime as well?
Yeah, we're good for one more. Hopefully we can get this wrapped up and get out of here.
They want to wrap it up, get it out of here, and bookend this regular season with the win at Daytona and the last regular season race here at Michigan.
Scott Zipadelli's got this place figured out. I mean, it was his team that won here last year with Brett Moffitt in the seat. He'd like nothing more than to take that win and the momentum that comes with it to Bristol next week.
Wasn't he the crew chief when Brett won here at Red Horse back in 2016?
Yeah, both the wins for Moffitt have come with Zipadelli on the box.
You know, we talked at the opening of the show how important momentum is to head toward the playoffs, and man, that 16 team's been on the slide. Getting this win today would certainly make them look much forward to Bristol next weekend.
How about this? Next week, the playoff opener, Bristol.
I couldn't think of a better place to go to start the playoffs here.
Look how tough that place looks. You see those trucks crashing, the rubber laid down in the groove, 2-3 wide racing on a half-mile track on a Thursday night. NASCAR on Thursdays. That's good times.
Can't wait. Thursday night, 8 o'clock Eastern. The playoff opener from Bristol.
I'm getting worried about fuel, though, Vince. I know Scott Zipadelli feels pretty confident. Again, they have a couple laps more fuel than some of the guys that pitted on lap number 58, like Harrison Burton and some of those guys. Brett Moffitt, remember, Jerry Baxter brought him on that caution on lap 67, so we know that he should be pretty good here on fuel. See Harrison Burton trying to save some fuel. They're shutting that truck off.
These racers start saving fuel from lap 1, Phil. They never can have too much fuel. Make sure you're prepared for any scenario, and that's a job that the driver has to make sure he does perfectly. You don't want that engine to stall out on you when you're playing that game.
And Scott Zipadelli mentioned it, and maybe explain why you can save a little bit more fuel when you are back in the pack versus that lead truck.
It's just the draft helps a lot. Plus, you're playing with the throttle a lot when you're back there. You're getting those huge runs down the straightaway, and as you go down the straightaway, you can roll off the gas to 75, 50% and still be making that gain because of the aero. So that's your job, but also as a driver, making sure you're cognizant of the fact that having an extra half a gallon of fuel, heck, sometimes just a pint of fuel, can be the difference between winning and losing.
You look at the point standings as we currently run. Crafton would get that 8th and final playoff spot, but if Burton or anybody below that line, Tyler Dipple is in the mix as well. If they would happen to win, Crafton, the two-time series champ, would be out.
Sheldon Creed still up here in contention for this win.
Yeah, Creed up on the outside. He's up there in that preferred lane. We do our job and get a good start. He could squirt out ahead of Crafton.
A lot of experience right here with Brett Moffitt on the inside and Matt Crafton right behind him.
Yeah, but that experience caused a bit of an issue on Crafton. They had an inexperienced driver somewhat with Tyler up ahead of him there, Ankrum, and Matt got in the back of him. We'll see how they're able to execute here.
3 of the top 6 are in need to win to get in positions. Harrison Burton running 3rd, starting on the outside of the second row, 4th. Starting on the outside of the second row, and then both trucks in the 3rd row. Tyler Dipple in that 0-2 and the 2 truck of Sheldon Creed.
Right now, Matt Crafton's job is to make sure either Austin Hill, Brett Moffitt, or himself wins this race. That way he qualifies for the playoffs.
Hadn't said much about our buddy Stuart Friesen. He's creeped into the top 10. See him back there behind regular season champion Grant Enfinger there in that black and white truck. There's that beautiful 52 Halmar truck.
And right next to him, Bailey Curry, and then Nice Motorsports. Wasn't a good day for Ross Chastain, but Curry up into the top 10.
Ray Ciccarelli there in the 49 truck, also having a great day, running 12th right now.
When they take the green, there will be 2 to go. Who's going to win at Michigan? Hill gets a good push. Harrison Burton in 2nd. Austin Hill has gone out to the front, and here comes Moffitt on the inside and Sheldon Creed on the outside to make it 3 wide.
Austin Hill says, which lane do I block?
Creed getting a shove from the 0-2 of Dipple, now 2nd and 3rd, and Austin Wayne Self has moved up into 4th. But it's Austin Hill still out front. Can Creed catch him?
Look how far back Matt Crafton is. He has nothing to say about the finish of this race.
The white flag. Less than 2 miles remaining.
The next flag will end it.
Can Creed or Dipple get up there and challenge Austin Hill?
Strong corner there for Creed. He's able to gain on our leader, Austin Hill.
Catching the draft and closing the gap is Creed, and now Dipple takes a look for 2nd, but it's not going to be enough. Creed, can he get to Austin Hill in the back bumper? Final lap. Off turn 4 for Austin Hill. From worst to first, last place last week, and Eldora the runner today in Michigan.
Oh my God! Thank you, boys. Thank you.
And Sheldon Creed will come home 2nd for the 2nd week in a row and just miss his shot at the playoffs.
He was confident they had plenty of gas.
Yeah, he was, and he was right.
It's such a crazy sport. 3 straight races of 30th or worst for Austin Hill, including last place last week at Eldora, and today he's the winner.
And what an action-packed race he won. Man, this is one you'll want to rewatch over and over again. Some great moves and a really fast truck for Austin Hill.
And the first one out, the first guy on the outside of that 8-driver playoff picture is the pilot of the 99, Ben Rhodes.
So much hope early in this race with the speed of that 99. Just a little bit of contact, a flat tire.
And then there's Matt Crafton. He's in. He didn't mind Austin Hill winning because that meant he would be the 8th driver to get in the playoffs.
How about the drivers 2nd, 3rd, and 4th? All would have made the playoffs with a win.
What a great run for Bailey Curry. We talked shortly about. He finished in the 6th position. That's fun to see a kid show up and just start to get his hold around what it takes to be fast on these big tracks.
How about Ray Ciccarelli with a top 10 ninth for his career best?
Yeah, career best finish for Dipple as well. You guys mentioned running 3rd today. But the day belongs to Austin Hill. He won the first race of the season, and he wins the final race of the regular season. And he takes that momentum to the playoffs Thursday night at Bristol.
And did crew chief Scott Zipadelli say that's a new truck that they built to bring here to Michigan? And that's a great sign as you head toward the playoffs. You want to have your best stuff for the playoffs, and it looks like that's some pretty good stuff.
Remember, Vegas is one of our 3 races in this first round of the playoffs.
And you see the 98 of Grant Enfinger doing some burnouts as well because he's the regular season champion.
And the 15 playoff points that go with it.
That was a great race.
Austin Hill, 25 years old from Winston, Georgia. 2-time winner in the Gander Outdoors Truck Series.
He sure earned this one, didn't he?
He sure did. I was thinking the same thing, Phil. What different positions he found himself in throughout today, and able to battle for the lead late in the going and get that big victory.
Congratulations to Shiggy Hattori Racing, crew chief Scott Zipadelli, and driver Austin Hill. It's a small team. They don't have the infrastructure and the number of employees that some of the bigger teams might have, but for their one truck, they've got the right people, and that's the difference maker. And you got to consider Austin Hill as a young man that's going to be a contender in this championship, as he has proven he can win races.
It's amazing what that single truck team has been able to do over the last couple of years, and there's been some talk that they may expand to a second truck, and that's just going to make that whole situation better.
Nothing better than that feeling right there. You deliver for your race team. You get to carry the checkered flag and salute the fans after an awesome race.
The playoff picture beginning Thursday night at Bristol. And the order in which they are listed is, of course, the following of Brett Moffitt, who will be the #1 seed going in. Check in with Alan.
And down here with Senior Vice President of Competition for NASCAR, Scott Miller. You have something to hand our regular season champion.
I do. What a fantastic season by Grant Enfinger, Jeff Hensley, and all the guys at Thor Sports. Congratulations for being our regular season champion. There you go, bud. Great job, man.
Thank you very much. He's got 1 trophy. What is that? Hold it up over your head. You earned that. You and your team earned that. That's 1 trophy. What does this mean? What does this represent about what you can do in the playoffs?
You know, it's definitely huge. It's a huge accomplishment. We haven't won a race yet, but we did get this. It's a big deal for the playoffs, 15 playoff points, but also something to hang our hat on that we got, you know, out of hard work, perseverance. You know, we finished 7th today, but we're about a 27th place truck yesterday, and that's how our day, or that's how our year has been. It hadn't always been pretty, but we've always made the most of it. So thankful for the opportunity. Thanks God has blessed us for everything we need. Maybe not everything we want. We wanted some checkered flags before then, but really proud of Thor Sport Racing, LTI Printing, new partner on board this weekend, Champion Power Equipment, Protect the Harvest, Curb Records, Ford Performance, everybody that lets us do this.
He's got the hat, his driver suit says champion. He's going to go chase another title, guys.
Doesn't have a race win, but can he win the championship in your opinion?
I think certainly so. He's shown brilliance all season long, and just goes to show you how tough these races are to win. And today was an awesome example of that. Just incredible competition, action, accidents that you got to avoid. I think he can do all those things and win this championship.
Yeah, he's had to speed a lot of races to go to victory lane. Just hasn't put it all together, but he certainly can in any given week.
That's where you want to end up. He's driven right to victory lane.
How sweet it is for Austin Hill. And you know, when he won at Daytona, some said, it's a fluke, it's Daytona. And he proved today it's no fluke. He earned it, got it done. A winning team effort all the way around.
It's funny, Vince, we talk about momentum. 3 straight finishes of 30 or worse. Who would have ever thought that? They just turned it around right on the dime, didn't they?
We forgot all about those last 3 races.
Hermie Sadler is in victory lane.
What a celebration. What a relief. What a turnaround for this race team. And Austin Hill to go to victory lane, the last race of the regular season, heading into the playoffs. Austin, you guys won Daytona, and then from then on, some ups and downs, but you guys rebound, back to victory lane before the playoffs. How big is this for this race team?
Oh man, it's huge. Man, we've had a struggle these last 4 or 5 races. We just keep having issues and just can't finish the races. And man, these guys just work their tails off day and night, just trying to put these trucks together. This is actually a brand new truck. First time it's seen the racetrack yesterday. So, you know, when we unloaded, we had to work out some bugs on it, and we got it driving really good. I was really happy with the speed of it. And man, this race was crazy. I had to come to the back from the back a few times. I had a speeding penalty one time, and I kind of thought our race was done, but man, we came back up through the field, and this Toyota Tundra was really good today. I can't thank Hino, Ison, United Rentals enough for coming on board, TRD, just everyone that makes it happen. Also got to make a shout out to Miss Cindy. She's not doing too well, so she's a big supporter of us. My wife and kids are back at home, so thanks for everything and everything you guys do for me, and can't wait to come home to celebrate.
Austin Hill in victory lane. Vince.
The playoffs begin Thursday night at Bristol. For Hermie Sadler, Alan Cavana, Michael Waltrip, Phil Parsons, I'm Vince Welch. Major League Baseball is next.